angles and theories towards not just informal and formal, that we take it beyond that a little
Okay.
bit to strengthen it. I would feel comfortable with it.
What do you guys think about developing this idea of proving Google, or going with Google's thought that a strong team is one where there's even participation from all members, and then talking about giving some examples of, in practicality, when that does and doesn't exist, and that roles play in.
I think it's good.
And
Alright.
would you be calling the meeting, in terms of connecting that to the meetings, are you calling the meetings a team and like expecting equal participation in the meetings? Not that that happens, but
That's tough, right? Because I guess
Yeah.
meetings aren't always teams,
No,
right?
no.
You have like different people in the organization doesn't necessarily make it a team.
right.
I mean, we could call that distinction out. That's probably
Mhm.
worth addressing. I'm gonna try to get some bullet points down,
Okay.
and then come up with a couple sound bites. So what did we learn that helped us make sense of something that happened to you in your personal or professional life?
So that formal and informal roles exist.
Okay. So I'm gonna start with strong teams and then talk about roles. Best teams have even contribution from all members of the teams.
Yeah, and that relates to not self-limiting. Like if you're, even though you might be a diverse collection of people on the team, the idea that you're all participating and contributing without self-limitations.
So, minimizes self-limiting behavior. Encourages diverse opinions, welcomes all ideas, right? No judgment to hamper creativity.
Something about something I learned is like while I perceive myself as filling a informal role, it might be perceived or judged otherwise, and what that kind of looks like from other perspectives.
Like the listener and observer role may be perceived as not participating.
Yep.
Right.
So sometimes participation in a team is a function of that individual's role. In some organizations, roles are informal, and in a team setting,
Can be perceived.
yeah, help me out at this point.
Like, would you point out the type of informal roles, like that listener or observer are the main two that I'm thinking of that could be perceived negatively?
That's those are the roles that I was thinking about when I mentioned it.
So in some organizations, roles are informal, and in a team setting, ideas come from those people who don't necessarily have articulated formal roles. Formal roles. So let's tie this to some actual examples. So, in the Atlanta Hawks, how would you describe your organization?
Informal.
In the Atlanta Hawks, what is it? Business development organization?
Yeah, business development or in corporate sponsorship department, I'd say. Formal roles are basically by position or by title.
Formal roles align with the individual's title within the organization, right?
Yeah, however, I want to say decision-making process or decision-making can be done across the board on that team, just because it's the salesperson can make the decision on what to push. But ultimately, the approval obviously is needed by a superior executive level.
So decisions and ideas, well, I should say ideas. Ideas are contributed
Pretty much across the board.
by people in all levels of the organization, and the senior leader owns the final decision-making authority. So in like group conversations, informal roles emerge, is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
In the meeting setting
Yeah.
that you were describing?
Okay. In group meeting settings. Informal roles emerge. And those are just people like make their decision on how they insert themselves in the meeting.
Mm-hmm. Like it's up to you to kind of insert yourself where you deem, and it's a risk. Either it could be
Well received.
well received
Yeah.
or it's
Right.
not, but it's up to you to take the risk and kind of speak out.
To gain
speak out.
visibility and.
Right. But it's open to where you can do that. You have the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
Which I think is different than a lot of places.
Yeah, they're giving you at least the chance to do that.
Mm-hmm. They do that.
The group norms are I'll say the organization is accepting
Of all voices or all
Mm-hmm.
opinions regardless of position or rank.
Yeah.
So it's up to the individual to seize an informal role as a contributor or ideator.
Yep.
Or idea generator. Okay. So let's compare that to your experience. So in business settings in South Korea, is that a fair generalization? Or was it just specific to where you worked in South Korea? The formality and the hierarchy. Is that common in business in South Korea?
Yeah. The settings and sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any unfair generalization. Okay, so in business settings in South Korea,
Virtual industries.
in which industries?
In virtual industries. Mature industries.
Mature.
Okay, so this is less like a startup and more
Yeah.
business settings.
The comparison is growing and startups is totally different from
Are they more
company.
equal?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because it's very because I was in kind of financial industry, so it's
Mhm.
very conservative too. Also. So.
Okay.
Business settings in mature industries in South Korea, such as traditional finance and investment. Roles are formalized and hierarchical.
Structured?
And align with the hierarchical structure. So in group meetings, you are expected to contribute ideas only if they are within the construct of your formalized role.
Yeah.
But then you have to basically communicate it to a superior before the meeting, is that right? You couldn't necessarily say it
it's
yourself.
not the usual one, but all of the peoples are in the meeting expecting to do in a role basis. Role is a formalized role, so it's not fluid. The voice is not even and equal in meetings.
Okay.
So
Depending on hierarchy, certain roles hold more clout and their ideas are
Given more weight.
yeah,
I was
given more
thinking.
weight. I like that.
Because we believe that just the more efficient, so that's the way of the structuring the organization is only reflecting the efficiency, how to manage the works. So it becomes a hierarchically distribute the tasks and roles and responsibilities. So
Right.
it still go through in the meeting too.
Right. So, so the idea is that there is efficiency.
And communicating ideas through the hierarchy, or?
Right.
And then would you say that the structure doesn't allow for the formation of informal roles other than observer? Like you could only be in the meeting and observe, it's not as, I guess that would still be an informal role. I was trying to think if it would limit the opportunities in comparison to, say, your meetings.
So-
Because you can speak and like you had
Yeah.
given the label of idea generator and something.
So let's stick to that idea generator role. So we could say the structure doesn't lend itself well to individuals seizing the informal role of idea generator if that role, or if that role competes with their
Hierarchy.
formalized role within the organization's hierarchy.
Mhm.
Could be, or in my case, I'm thinking about the decision making is the final destination of the meeting. So
Mhm.
the in the meeting, more things should be, and both things should be efficient way
Mhm.
to, after the meeting is over, the implement stages, we need to make the another structure to process all of things.
Mhm.
So we think that to align in the meeting and the former structure. So that's why we think like this.
Gotcha. So the structure doesn't lend itself well to individuals seizing the informal role of idea generator if that role competes with their formalized role within the organization's hierarchy.
So we do implement like walkout meeting in the GE in special cases to get all of the people think of as a flat and then make an idea generation and observer and listeners regardless of their former status in the hierarchy.
Okay.
Each very special cases. It's like a GE walkout meeting. So
Okay.
usually our decision making process is like this.
Gotcha.
Should we reflect further on like the results of these? So I think on this paragraph, we already did say that the culture deems it more efficient to go through the hierarchy, but we
Mhm.
didn't really do anything with your idea generator role. Do we want to say what the outcome would be, or like how the communication style changes as a result of having those types of roles,
I like that.
informal roles?
So we could jump in and say, here are some of the benefits of having ideas come from folks in an informal role, and we can point to some good examples in your organization of maybe
Yeah.
people getting good recognition, maybe really good ideas coming from unlikely sources, and then talk about trade-offs, and then in your case we can talk about the benefit of efficiency, and then when you go to implement, everyone knows what their role is because it's so formalized.
Yeah.
And that's why we pick up another extreme cases of the communication when you think about the very new ideas for the grassroots.
Yeah.
We try to take kind of this brainstorming approach.
Okay.
With a flat level communications.
Okay, so I'm not sure I follow. So so you have this really formal, like, only speak if it's within your role, traditional structure, right? But then there's also these brainstorms, is that right?
Yeah, sometimes.
And then how do those ideas come out? You gotta tell the right person in the organization?
Yeah,
to share
in
those
that
ideas?
cases, we just appointed a lot of people at a junior level. You take a kind of initiatives and to expedite all of things
Mm-hmm.
in the meeting, and then
Mhm.
it develops lots of ideas and to some working plan,
Mhm.
or action plan in the meeting,